We have JHope talking about the reunion and addressing some of the rumors. We also have a dating rumor going on at Rehearsal, what's going on with that, as well as threats being made over something going on with V. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave Desai. Let's get into it. So for this first topic, we actually have an update from a story that I talked about yesterday. Just to give a quick recap on what's going on and what that story is about. If you're not aware, the label put out a promo video to sort of tease all of the BTS members coming together or what their solo stuff is going to be. Surprisingly, really controversial, as a lot of people were upset that the photos that they used for all of the BTS members were pictures from their album, except when it came to V, they used a photo from a magazine shoot that he did. Now, I've always said if something seems quite strange or weird, we should normally assume that there's something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. And people think that they found an answer to what the reason actually is. The community will go in and investigate things when they care or get upset about something so much. They definitely will try to find some answers. But I will say the answer that they have given recently makes a lot of sense. I don't know how accurate it is, but it does make sense. The album Layover by V had Min Hee-jin's input in it. She was a creative director of the album and had a lot of say in the creative direction of the album. Now, we don't exactly know what parts she had a say in and what parts did V come in and say that he wanted to take over. But it's generally believed that she had a huge hand in the album and probably had a lot of copyright or trademark things that were mostly hers from the album. Normally, if someone is hired by the label and they do put their hand in a lot of the artistic stuff, that work still goes directly to the label, and the label is welcome to use it however they want to. However, there is a litigation going on right now, and we don't know what it means for a lot of the creative artists and stuff. So a lot of people believe that the reason why they didn't use V's album art was because they didn't want to be involved with the litigation, or they didn't want to potentially violate anything. And to me, this of course makes a lot of sense, because if there is a lawsuit going on right now, you want to try to be as careful as possible, even if it might not be very necessary to do so. Does this mean that this is 100% the reason as to why his album wasn't used? Probably not. And I still also believe that a good reason why he may choose to not use the album art could be because he prefers his magazine covers better. I'm not making any particular assumptions or saying definitively what's going to happen, but I would not be surprised if we saw the members take on other solo endeavors while they are with BTS. For example, if they're already doing the music and they're putting out a lot of music and choreography and that sort of stuff, then they might put their focus onto acting, doing commercials, or modeling, and this could be a great way to push V in his modeling career, a great way for the label to do that, especially in a group and when they're trying to highlight a specific member and make them appear different than the rest of them when trying to promote their upcoming solo stuff. So for example, if V is the next solo artist to come out of the group, but he is the next solo artist to come out of the group while the group is still active, then the label might choose to have V wear very different clothes, wear a lot more colorful clothes, so that when he's pursuing his solo stuff, he had the eyeballs on him for a really long time. Does that make sense? But this is just a thought, and this is just a theory. There's no legitimacy to any of this. This is all alleged, and it's kind of good to have theories because it kind of quells the anger that the community feels, stops the death threats. A lot of people felt like this was the label being inconsiderate or not really doing their job. So even if this isn't true, at least I would hope that this would calm the community and stop getting them to tag the label or attack the label. There's also been a lot of conversation about the reunion, and I think that this is very exciting when we start to hear some of the members talk about it. And of course, right now, JHope is doing his thing. He's doing his interviews. He's on tour. So he's going to be the one that is talking about it. He recently was on Sirius X and he talked about the reunion, and he specifically mentioned that this was extremely exciting because the anticipation has been kind of brewing for a really long time. And there's a lot of expectation that this comeback is going to be really good. One thing that I noted from this quote that he said was that it didn't mention anything about not doing the reunion, and it didn't even hint that they wouldn't do the reunion. It completely sounded like they were on board, and it is for sure happening. The bottom line is he's even choosing to mention it during his own solo stuff. He's not avoiding the question nor getting uncomfortable or even asking his publicist to have the interviewers not ask these questions, because he could definitely do that. But instead, he is taking the time to promote the fact that the boys are coming back together, promote that the reunion is happening, and promote that it's going to be good. An artist that has no interest in going back together with the group would not be taking the time to do this. People were also really excited as during one of his shows recently, there was someone who had a sign. And if you've never been to a concert or you've never kind of been at the front row, you wouldn't be fully aware that there are usually cameramen that will point their camera at you and it will show up on the screen. So these are usually the cameramen that are able to get a close-up shot of the performer so that you can actually see it on the big screen behind them, because otherwise most of us who are sitting in the balcony or in those back rows definitely would not be able to see the performer at all. Kind of sucks that you go to a live show to see the singer but end up having to watch them on a screen anyway. This is also one of the reasons why I hate concerts, because I don't like having to pay money just to see them on a screen when obviously I can do that anytime, any day. And getting a front row seat ticket would be near impossible, so most of the time you would never even get that. Now, there's a lot of rumors, of course, surrounding this idea that JHope might be tired of people talking about wanting the group coming back together, or he may not want to bring it up. However, that is quite the opposite. And people really felt like this was his way of addressing that rumor and sort of addressing the haters who believe that the group is over. I am beyond 110% confident that the boys are coming back together and making music. There literally has not been a single member who has objected to this idea or has even shown slight hatred or regret for signing on with the group again. And the thing is, even if they do want to do more solo stuff, they're always still welcome to post on social media and make that content by themselves and all that stuff. So I would imagine that since they know that it wouldn't feel as restrictive signing on with the group again, they would be okay with doing that. JHope recently has posted some social media content that has gotten a lot of people talking, one of which was a dance challenge that he did with Momo and Nayeon from Twice. People were really excited about this, and people definitely did not see this coming, so this was such a great thing. Also, a lot of people were sending a lot less death threats with this, which was kind of cool, but there were some behind the scenes videos that came out where people were even more excited to see. Some people were talking about JHope saying things, and every time he said something, Nayeon would start laughing. Now, normally this would be enough to make the community go crazy and think that the two are dating and then sending an immense amount of death threats to her specifically. But in this case, there were a lot less of this. Quite frankly, I, in general, have seen a lot less hate when it comes to dating rumors involving JHope. Not sure what the reason is behind that, but in general, I've seen a lot less. But of course, a lot of people are seeing that she's giggling, and she obviously thinks that he's funny. Some people take laughing and giggling as flirting, so a lot of people definitely think that the two have some sort of chemistry together. People remove things like they're going out on a date after the rehearsal and all that stuff, and these clips get snipped and go viral pretty quickly among the community. One of the main reasons why this is something that does happen is because a lot of these clips just show JHope and Nayeon. They're also not showing Momo at all. This means for those who haven't actually seen the original clip or weren't aware that the original clip was happening or posted, they would just see the behind the scenes and the fan edits and that content and just think that it was just the two of them together and that Momo wasn't there at all. And that, of course, then would make it appear like the two are dating or that there's something going on there. But in reality, he invited two girls there, so it's less likely that the whole point of the invitation was because the two were dating or wanted to date. Also, I've met a ton of girls who just have the giggle bone. They just giggle at everything, and they think everything is funny. They think everything is cute, and just overall, they're always happy. And those are the people that I personally like to be around, but they're not always flirting or hitting on everyone. Although, I have definitely seen that people tend to think that they are, but they're just kind of people that they like to laugh and have fun. I love when I see people like this. And I think that Nayeon is someone just like that, which I absolutely think is beautiful. She seems like the type of gal that would just be down for anything, would be willing to take criticism as well as go with the punches. And we love people like that, or at least I do. I love to see it. Doesn't mean anything more romantic is happening between them. And if there is, that's cool too, but I don't think so. Let me know what you think. Make sure to check out Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thank you to this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.